And welcome to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Thursday, July 23rd. It is 1:02 p.m. and we're going to call ourselves to order. First item on the agenda is the national anthem. If I could ask folks to stand if you can, remove any headdress, and face the flag, please. Thank you. Next item is our land acknowledgement. I ask Councillor Moore if he could do the land acknowledgement today.
As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Township of Whitewater Region and our community that we're meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of Indigenous people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years.
Excellent, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of our agenda. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the July 23rd, 2026 agenda. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor White. Is there any changes or amendments Council wants to make? Good, I see none. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried. Next is the adoption of minutes from our last meeting, June 17th. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the June 17th, 2026 minutes. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Trim, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Is there any errors or omissions? Good, I see none. I have one item that I'd like to raise. Just a comment based on one of the agenda items. And I have to flip to it here. So it's item 10C, and this is the Main and Crawford Street valve repair that was conducted just after Canada Day, I believe. And although I'm very happy to have that repair completed now, there was some feedback from businesses and other members impacted by the water having to be shut off. And as a result of some of those communications, I'd like staff to look at ways of increasing the ability to communicate these types of immediate repair requirements so that businesses have a heads up as much as possible and can try to plan around if that is possible. Any comments from staff?
Yeah, just noted. Certainly I think in conversation with our directors, the time lapse between the decision of council to approve the said works and the constraint that we were having with the leaking water system, we had to act quickly to get it repaired, but noting there was some impacts to businesses and residents, and there's always a way to better communicate with the public and businesses, absolutely, so we'll try our best. Thanks.
Perfect, thank you. Good, is there any other errors or omissions that council noted? Excellent, I see none. We'll call for the vote then. All those in favor? And it's carried, thank you. Good. Next item is number 5, committees and boards. And here again, just for the benefit of anybody watching or looking, here we try to share minutes from different organizations in the community. Historical Society, the Muskrat Watershed, South Ottawa Valley OPP. These are the ones that are highlighted on the agenda this week. And we share that to ensure that it becomes part of the public record. Council is aware, and the public has a reference point if they want to look at it. So now I'll turn to the reps we have. Historical Society is Councillor Bell. Anything you want to add from those minutes that are enclosed? Okay, and Muskrat Watershed is Councillor White.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Good, and South Valley OPP is also Councillor White.
Nothing to add.
Excellent, good. We'll move on to item number 6 then, which is disclosures of interest. Is there any disclosures that councillors need to make as a result of the agenda today? Good, I see none. That moves us on to presentations, 7.1. A delegation, in front of us from Cobden about the Cobden wastewater treatment plant upgrades. And the delegation has been sought by Mrs. Ann Guest and Mr. Donald Deere. And I would ask now, who is going to go first? Mr. Deere? So, Mr. Deere, if you can come to the mic, just introduce yourself. And just to review, we've got the presentation in front of us, the timer on the slide, and the floor is yours.
Slide number 2, please. Sorry, I lost 5 seconds there. Fact is, JP2 report for detailed design to the end of May 2018 was 100% complete. I brought a set of drawings. Anybody that wants to look at them, they can look at them, but those drawings are, they're 100% complete because, first of all, they have no circle saying on hold. Secondly, they've all been either stamped by an engineer and signed, or they've been initialed electronic by an engineer. That does not mean there were no errors, because there are lots of errors. No question about it. After May, Whitewater only owed JP2G $110,007.14. Okay, slide number 3, please. Questions? Did you skip one? Oh, maybe
We have to
not.
go back
Okay.
one slide, please.
Yeah,
Oh.
go back, go to the next one. Sorry, yeah, that one.
Okay.
Okay, in July 2018, the invoice when JP2 changed its description in detailed design to design and construction phase services for new MBR plant and existing wastewater treatment plant, and waste percent complete to 53.61 from 100. What they're really saying is, we know we've made some mistakes and changes will be required, but we want Whitewater Region to pay for our mistakes and changes, so we've made the contract amount an even $750. Nice work if you can get it. Contractually, that is not Whitewater Council's problem. Next slide. These are some questions that Council needs to answer for Cobden residents. Is your lawyer aware that Council never approved more than the contract amount of $883.37? That's after HST rebate, except the $20,264.48 in the August 2018 meeting. That, by the way, that $20,000 should never have been approved. Is your lawyer seeking the unauthorized funds that staff paid to JP2G, as well as the $2.8 million and the $434,970 for SEMA Plus, which is way too much too? Is your lawyer going to review the field change orders to see which ones should have been charged to JP2G? Unfortunately for that, you're going to need baseline input, because they're going to have to tell you the circumstances behind it. Next slide. On this one, I just want to talk about why was the second page of the July 25th, 2018 JP2 invoice not included in the council agenda, because that's the one that contains critical information. I doubt that Carmen forgot to attach it. I think she was never given it in the first place. Next slide. When Whitewater loses in arbitration with Baseline, where will council get the funds to pay Baseline? In my experience, I honestly believe you're going to lose the arbitration. First of all, $2,000 a day penalty is not enforceable unless it's been negotiated. It's not enforceable because it doesn't cover the losses you're going to have. And third, the contractor is not responsible for the schedule. The project manager is. And C, the three excluding HST amounts are, why are there at least three different reported amounts that Whitewater paid JP2G? There are $1.449 million that I got invoices for, $1.526 million from the October 23 report to council, and $1.589 million from the fact document. Okay, next slide. Why did council not ask Ed Schultz in his construction reports to council why he never mentioned the skyrocketing costs of JP2G? Next slide. What can council do to avoid any further financial burden upon the citizens of Cobden if the following turns out to be true? This is part of the condition to get the $6 million debenture. It's item number 5 in the certificate of the treasurer, supposedly signed by Sean Crozier, who in my opinion probably wouldn't know if it's going to last till 2051 or not. Basically, it states that the existing wastewater treatment plant has to last till at least October 2051, which I doubt it will. Next slide. This invoices that staff should not have paid and that council never should have approved was the invoice on August 1st, 2018. Why are staff allowed to pay invoices for contract work that only council should approve? Exactly. Slide 10. Why did council publish a fact sheet that contained false information? Slide 11. Is council aware that you can be sued for negligence when ignoring bylaws, for example, not vetting and then sole sourcing DP2G in 2015, not getting a proper COT done at sole sourcing H2O Innovation, not vetting and then sole sourcing SEMA Plus at twice the normal engineering cost, and construction management costs. All those decisions will cost residents of Cobden millions of dollars because of negligence by council and staff. You've received irresponsible advice from staff by telling you to ignore your procurement bylaw. Anyway, I got to stop because Ann needs to go.
Oh, boy.
Want some help?
My first interaction with Whitewater Region began in 2023 when I phoned to question the change in water wastewater rates from tri-monthly to bi-monthly and didn't receive a valid explanation. I then began writing letters in the Whitewater News, and responses came immediately from our trusty engineer, Donald Deere, who was the project manager for 2 large industrial wastewater treatment plants during his career. What became clear very quickly was the amount of deception that had occurred and continues to this day. The citizens of Cobden have seen huge increases in their bills, which now exceeded the taxes they pay. In an attempt to appease the public, a task force was formed to supposedly seek ways to prevent further increases and to potentially lower rates. This group gave up their time and set priorities, but since then they have not been contacted personally at all. Flyers have been put in mailboxes to inform the public about water meters being installed, but the businesses have no idea when they will be put into service. As for the fact that the detailed design of this wastewater treatment plant was sole sourced to an engineering consultant that did not have the expertise to design and manage this project, that staff signed invoices without the approval of council and are now facing lack of funding for improvements to this plant, it is quite evident the citizens of Cobden will continue to see huge increases in their rates. Real estate development, not a chance. Home buyers, no way. Who wants to pay more for their water sewer rates than their taxes? What Cobden really needs this fall is representation on the council. Not one member currently lives in the town of Cobden, so why would they care what we're paying? There's no other place in Ontario that pays these atrocious amounts. And the sad fact is that if this plant had been built by a reputable company, and if this estimated bid had been correct, government funding would have been larger and we wouldn't have been paying a debt that will not be paid until 2051, by which time this plant will no longer be adequate for the needs of the people. The seniors, the young families, and really all the people of Cobden need two things: honesty and transparency. What is your plan? How can you make things better for us? From what we can see, this town is heading towards bankruptcy, and we need to know what you can do to prevent it. Here are my questions for you. Should we face bankruptcy because of unpaid debts or failure of litigation? Would the government take over the township the way they have with some school boards? If so, would that mean that Beachburg, Westmeath, and Haley's would also lose their representation within the municipal government, despite their non-involvement with Cobden's wastewater treatment plant? Let's have some honest responses soon. And I just want to add one more comment. 3 businesses have now shut down in Cobden: the car wash, Dan's Pizza, and Studio 646. All of them could not afford the water wastewater rates. And that's it.
Time council start working for us, not for themselves.
Thank you, Mrs. Guest, and thank you, Mr. Deere, for your presentation, your delegation to council. And with that, I'll open it up to council. Any questions for our delegation from council? Good. Councillor White?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any questions. I have a comment I want to make through you. That when I read Mrs. Guest's statement here, I was sort of perturbed by it because there are statements in it that are not backed up by anything. So we put this out there for the people to see. They read it, and then we don't know. They may take it for fact, and we don't know if it is fact. So it upsets me that we can give people the time to come here and say things, negative, positive, or any way they want, and we are not allowed to dispute them because we're just reading this now and we don't have the information we need to respond. That's why I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor White. Sorry, I'm going to have to ask the public that during a council meeting, we're restricted to the way that communication can work, so. If,
Can I reply to that?
well, as a delegation, yes.
Yes, okay. Everything in my report, I can back up with facts. Found on your website, on the Whitewater Region website, or if you go back through all the minutes of meetings and all that stuff. I've attended a lot of meetings at council. That's why I have so many files. I was at the August 19th, 2015 meeting when they sole sourced JB2G. I was at the meeting in, I think it was November of 2018, when they decided to sole source H2O Innovation, and the supplier that was with me that should have got the contract. And also, I read the minutes of a memo stating that we should just sole source SEMA Plus because they know the plant. That's no reason. Your procurement procedure specifically states you cannot sole source engineering. You just can't, and you should not, because there's a huge difference. SEMA Plus are charging you, potentially charging you 12% of direct cost. Nobody charges 12% anymore. They did in the 1960s and the 1970s, but everything now is virtual reality, CAD, all the drawings are made on CAD. There's 3D scanning, all those sorts of things. JP2G did the original design for 4% of direct cost. Yes, they made a lot of mistakes, but they did. And that's a number, it should be, is somewhere between 6 and 8%. SEMA Plus, potentially, I'm not saying they will, but potentially they're going to charge you 12%. And for construction management, they're charging you 9%. Construction management is typically around 4 to 5.
Good. Thank you. And Councillor White.
I need to respond only because I'm only addressing Mrs. Guest. I'm not addressing Donald Deere. I believe you, Mr. Deere. I believe Mr. Deere when he says that he has a fact. They're right here. This one just has that we're deceptive, that we don't care, that we, you know, and that upset me that she was able to say this without her backing up her facts. Mr. Deere, you do have the facts.
Good. And we're not going to allow comment on that, so we'll leave that. Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions from members of council? Good. Yeah, Councillor Bell.
I'm just wondering on, specifically on question 14, why did council publish a FAQ sheet that contained false information? I'm just wondering specifically what information in that Mr. Deere is disputing.
Okay, if you'll allow me to, I've asked for another 5 minutes. I can point out some of that stuff.
Could I respond to Connie?
Sorry?
Could I respond to Connie?
Sure. I guess, I don't know. Could you?
Okay, so sorry, just to come back, the FAQ things, you have that prepared, Mr. Deere? Exactly what was wrong with the FAQ questions?
Do I know?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Can you provide that to us?
Yeah, it's in the documents I just gave to Ivan.
Perfect. And CAO, can we make sure that's delivered to the council?
Yeah.
And that should answer Councillor Bell's question, and if it doesn't, then we'll readdress it.
Well, part of it was in this presentation here, where it says in the fact sheet that it was the extra funds were all approved, and it was not. They were not approved, because that second sheet of the invoice was not included. They only approved the 20,000. They didn't approve the 550,000.
Yeah, and the danger with
Sorry?
you know, the danger with the amount of information that might be flowing right now on this is it's difficult to absorb it quickly. So if you have it written down and you've already provided it to the CAO, we'll make sure that gets distributed to council, and then they can look at. Sorry, we won't. Sorry,
All this
Mr.
information
Deere,
is-
I would encourage you, if there are members of the public that would like to receive a copy of what you're providing to council, you can also do that. Otherwise, it will be a public record with council and available to the public as well.
You know, part of the problem is, I would have brought all kinds of stuff, but when you got a 10-minute limit, I've got way too much stuff to say in 10 minutes. I need to be treated like the OPP, where they get to talk forever. But we're not. We're limited to 10 minutes. I've changed my presentation about 3 or 4 times trying to figure out what's the most important information for people to know. But like I said, all this information is on your website. You go to minutes of meeting, you go to agendas, whatever. It's all there. I've researched it all. That's why I don't say anything of opinion. Everything I put in my report is facts.
That's perfect. And thank you for digging
like
that
the
up.
sole sourcing. I know you guys are probably muzzled by your lawyer, but I think people in town need to have some answers.
That's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Deere. And I
Okay.
appreciate you providing that report to the CAO. Good. Is there any other questions from members of council? Okay, I see none. I just have some comments as well, and I just want to thank Mr. Deere and Mrs. Guest for coming today. We appreciate how candid.
Could I respond to what Connie just said? No?
Absolutely. I thought Mr. Deere was speaking on your behalf.
No. I just want to make clear that Don is the fact guy. He knows everything, all the information, and I'm the feelings person. So I'm talking about the way the town feels. They feel deceived, they feel upset, they feel that they haven't received enough information to justify the increase in their rates. So that's where I'm coming from. So it may not be factual, but it's coming from my heart. So, so shoot me. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you for clarifying that the statements you made were ones of feeling that provide some additional context. Good. We do appreciate you taking the time to come and provide this engagement, and your comments and the records that Mr. Deere has provided to the CAO will become part of the public record for this delegation and give council and staff the opportunity to reflect upon them. As council has communicated back in August 28th of 2025, there are ongoing confidential dispute resolution proceedings related to the wastewater treatment plant project. And while we recognize the importance to be as transparent as possible about those proceedings, we are limited to what we can discuss publicly in order to protect our own position in those negotiations, as the other parties to the proceedings also have access to anything put on public record. I also heard your comments regarding the communication with the Water and Wastewater Task Force, and I thank you again, Mrs. Guest, for the time that you put into that project. While council and staff have been working on several of the task force recommendations provided, and an update was provided earlier this year, it's clear that we can do a better job communicating progress back to our former task force members as well as the broader community. And I'll remind you, I have this for almost all of our water and wastewater meetings. That's your 54 recommendations. We are following them and ticking them off as they're completed. We will provide an additional update. I'll confirm with staff when the next timeline for an update will be on that, because that comes back to what our task force recommended to council and was accepted by council. Council also recognizes the burden that wastewater rates place on our residents and our businesses. A significant factor is the debt associated with the township's approximate $6 million contribution towards the wastewater treatment plant project. We continue to aggressively explore options to manage those costs and improve the long-term sustainability of the system. And the number of delegations, the number of letters, the number of personal meetings that I have done personally and with other members of council at both the provincial and the federal level, they're all on record, including the responses. We've been fortunate to obtain some financial relief, not on the wastewater side, on the water side, in the amount of $4 million. We are not done advocating, and we will continue to advocate. One of the initiatives is the installation of water meters. And again, Mr. Deere, very well versed in this. Specifically, commercial and industrial users first. We recognize that meters will not reduce the debt. That $6 million remains something we have to pay off. But they will ensure that costs are distributed based on actual consumption and encourage water conservation. We're still working towards that, but we don't want to go and spend more money on something until we make sure we can balance that financially. They are in progress, and I'm expected that before the end of the summer, we're going to receive more information on the water meter rollout. For those that are interested in the financial outlook for this utility specifically, I encourage residents to review the township's 10-year water and wastewater financial plan and rate study. And it's available. Copies are available. It's a pretty big document. You can see it here. This is a legislated requirement. We have to make a plan that it goes out 10 years in advance that includes projected operating costs, projected capital investments for those that might be the plant refurbishment, it might be the water main on Crawford. All of these capital investments over the next 10 years are debt obligations and results in the rates that are going to be required for each one of the next 10 years. This legislated requirement requires approval from the province, and we've submitted that this spring. And finally, Mrs. Guest, and I'm glad you clarified it, your comments about bankruptcy. There is absolutely no evidence to suggest that Whitewater Region is facing bankruptcy. Our council continues to adopt balanced budgets and will meet its financial obligations. We are, again, managing this debt and having to adjust plans around it, and that's where we stand right now. So I just wanted to recognize, again, the challenges associated with affordability and specifically our wastewater costs. We remain very committed to improving communications, supporting responsible growth, and you'll see later on the agenda we are doing the final improvements on the subdivision, the Wren subdivision. We are finding ways to try to manage costs while protecting the essential services for our residents. Thank you again for keeping this in the forefront of our minds. It is something that we do not lose sight of, and this engagement that we have an opportunity to speak with you and Mr. Deere about it just reminds us that it has to stay as one of the things we need to try to find a resolution for. So I just wanted to thank you again for your time today. Okay, good. Now, I'm sorry, we can't allow public engagement, but
We got a big problem here.
Big
Why don't you and I take a week here or wherever and work at this and try and find a solution, because we're not getting anywhere.
absolutely, give me a call,
Sure.
and I will meet whenever you're available.
Okay.
Okay, good. Excellent. I have some cards. We'll make sure you get them before you leave.
Okay.
Good, thank you. Good, and with that, we will,
Like a two-man task force.
two-man task force. I love two-man task force. Thank you. Good, and with that, we will move on to the next item on our agenda. Number 8, which is our mayor's address. It has been a busy 4 weeks since our last council meeting, and I would like to highlight some of the events that I participated in or other members of council participated in on behalf of council. First was the grand opening of our newest business here in Whitewater Region, the Whitewater Beer Spa. This is located at the Wilderness Tours location, the old Wilderness Tours location, now called Summerhill Resorts on the Ottawa River. It's an incredible addition, and if you're into, I think they call it detox, retox, and enjoy, I think is their slogan. But again, it also supports Whitewater Beer, another Whitewater business. Canada Day celebrations, we had the Cobden Stroller Parade, we had the Foresters Falls parades and barbecues, we had the Westmeath Chicken Dinner and events. Again, huge effort on behalf of our volunteers, and I thank them for that. Simple Things in Beachburg has new owners, and we were able to recognize them at one of their opening barbecue. I think we had Councillor Moore and Councillor Olmsted were present for that. McDonald graveyard signs are up on Highway 17. So if you're driving up Highway 17 towards Summerhill, you'll see these new highway tourist signs up, recognizing our War of 1812 graveyard. So there are a number of residents that live in this graveyard, that are located in this graveyard that were relocated here. And now these signs on the highway will point the community to where the graveyard is. And I just want to thank community volunteers, specifically the Legion, the Historical Society, Sarah, our executive corporate assistant, as well as Carmen as clerk for getting it to this point. Beachburg Fair, I believe we had a record turnout this year for this 170th year. We were also able to host the Minister of Rural Affairs, Lisa Thompson, at the opening ceremonies. Beachburg Fair announced that they have over 200 volunteers that come together to pull off that fair. Minister Thompson was quite impressed and has already indicated she provided a letter and she'd like to meet at AMO to talk about rural economic development opportunities that the province may invest in Whitewater Region. So, excellent. Pembroke Multicultural Festival. This was hosted in Pembroke on behalf of the whole region, and this event gives everyone the opportunity to be exposed to the many different people and cultures within our region. And it was also great to see a couple of Whitewater businesses there too. I just wanted to thank Rebecca, Katie, and Riley, some summer students, and our, I can't remember Rebecca's position, but
The Communication and Economic Development Coordinator.
Communication and Economic Development Coordinator, many hats, for manning our Whitewater tent and sharing. We ran out of the packages about Whitewater, our trails, our restaurants, our whitewater rafting, our Main Street here in Cobden, very popular. They took our flyers completely out of our hands. It was excellent. Tour to Whitewater also occurred. Though impacted by the rain, it was still an incredible turnout. 400 bikers were registered, 200 rode that day. WDRA put on a breakfast, 4-H put on lunch, and again, so many incredible volunteers that pulled that event off. Fraser, Morris, and Hebner Funeral Home, Wayne and Betty, have celebrated their 150th year as a business here in Cobden as part of Whitewater Region. It's an incredible achievement. There's certificates presented to Wayne and Betty from not only the township, but also our MPP, our MP, and our warden. So a huge congratulations to Wayne and Betty. And one other meeting, the CEO and I were able to meet with the Minister of Energy and Mines. That's Minister Lecce, thank you. My mind is slipping. As part of a trip the minister was making to the area, we were able to have a discussion about the need for further investment in electrical transmission to support growth, as well as the ongoing developmental potential of the mine site, the old Haley mine site, located here in our community. And it was great to have a few minutes of time with Minister Lecce, and the fact that he very clearly knows where Whitewater Region is on the map, very clearly knows the potential of our mine site, and hopefully will continue to support us as we try to advertise that and bring in a proponent. Excellent. That's all I have to report to council and the public for the last 4 weeks, and that ends my mayor's report. Is there any questions or comments from council? Good. I see none. Thank you. Next is item 9, public comments. Is there any public comments, CAO, on any of the items?
There
on the
were none
agenda?
received
Okay.
before the meeting, so no.
Excellent, thank you. And next we go into reports, item number 10. Our first report is the 2026 Q2 Administrative Report.
If I could, before we move the motion to discuss, can we pause for a few minutes so I can just get staff to come up and join us for the Q2 report?
Absolutely, we'll
Thanks.
take a short recess. And welcome back to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Thursday, July 23rd. We're going to call ourselves back to order here at 1:48 p.m. And we are discussing reports. We are at 10.1, which is the 2026 Q2 Administration Report. For those people that aren't familiar, this is a report that staff provides to council on a quarterly basis of all the activities by department. It gives us an opportunity to get a single snapshot of that quarterly activities in comparison with previous quarters and quarters of the previous year. And with that, I'll put the recommendation on the floor, which is that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive the 2026 Q2 Administration Report. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Trim. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to the CAO.
Yeah, thanks so much. So I'll just commence by summarizing the message from the CAO. So for Q2 2026, it was marked by the township's response to the flooding along the Ottawa River. So again, in 2026, here we are, sort of responding to flooding along the Ottawa River. So I just want to thank residents, staff, and the County of Renfrew, together with Ontario Corps. So Ontario Corps did provide the corporation with that barrier that was utilized along, not La Passe Road, but rather Lacqua Bay. So just thanks to these organizations together with our residents for their cooperation and support in protecting our community and our municipal infrastructure. So we also held our first employee recognition event. So back in December, we adopted some new human resources policies, one of which was a employee recognition program. So I'm very pleased to say that we held our first event. We celebrated the dedication of township staff. Internally, we hadn't received any public nominations. However, I think some of the members of council brought to my attention some highlighted activities, but we received 26 nominations were received and 12 employees were formally recognized for their contributions. So it's really exciting to just take a moment out of our day and just breathe, if you will, and recognize the efforts of our staff. So it was a really good time. I also highlighted in my message from the CAO our continued advocacy. I know we spoke about that just now in response to the delegacy to the provincial government. AMO delegation the AMO conference is coming up, so the Associations of Municipalities of Ontario conference. Within that sort of portfolio, we could submit for delegations, which we have, and in my section of the Office of CAO, I summarized that a little bit, but just looking forward to that conference and our ability to advocate to the province on a variety of subjects. And then lastly, just mention to the 2026 municipal election, so just recognizing that Q2 was the beginning of the nomination period. Continue to work and strive towards a transparent, accessible, and compliant election. So staff are continuing to work on that. And then lastly, just thanking council staff and residents for your continued support to myself, the CAO, and our staff team. And we're changing mics. Thanks so much. You want me to restart or? All right, thank you. And just thanking everybody for your continued support as we work together to build our community. So if you'll allow me, through you, the Mayor, we'll move directly into community development, and I will pass it over to our planner, Economic Development Officer, Mackenzie Baird, to present the community development report.
Through you, Mayor Nicholson, CBO Schultz is off today, so I'll be doing the whole section here, so bear with me a bit. So in terms of building permits in Q2, we received 63 building, 19 septic permits. We saw an increase in new home septic and other types of permits from 2025 to 2026, as well as an increase in the total estimated cost of construction. With regards to planning applications, we received 3 zoning bylaw amendments and 3 minor variance applications in Q2. We presented 3 zoning bylaw amendments, 2 consents, and 2 minor variances in Q2. In terms of the difference in numbers there, some applications we would have received in March and not brought forward until April, which is why there's not received but presented. Similarly, some we would have received in June and have not been brought forward until July, August. So that's why there's a difference in the numbers between received and presented. In terms of our comms, social media, our top performing post on Facebook was regarding the global medic barrier. On Instagram, it was regarding the student bursary awards in the township. Key activities, so in building, it's continuing to process new development applications and focusing on closing outstanding permit files from previous years. Planning, we presented an update to the comprehensive zoning bylaw, extended our development charges bylaw, executed bylaw to finalize and sign REN Phase 3 and 4, executed water quality impact assessments, development agreements supporting appropriate development on Muskrat Lake, and completing part lot control exemptions to support appropriate development. Economic development, there was a couple key events held throughout the month. We updated the social media templates to better align with branding. We launched a coloring contest. Entries are still were open until July 15th. And our summer student, Katie, prepared a scavenger hunt at the tourist booth. Workplace and strategic plan process. We're continuing the development of an in-house digital inspection program, enabling staff to complete inspections, capture photos, and update permit files and vat them in the field. Doug's gone out with his iPad quite a few times recently, and he's been very happy with it. Developed over the past 2 years, the program has eliminated approximately $15,000 in annual software fees. We continue to support appropriate growth and development in the township, organize and improve marketing materials, and continue to assist in planning Taste of the Valley in Cobden. And our upcoming initiatives, we're continuing to improve office efficiency. We're reviewing the development charges bylaw. We've undergone some and are continuing to install pole banners for the region or for the township. Implementation of CIP grants and expanding our marketing materials, and assisted other developments and other departments, in the planning of our 25th anniversary event. And that is the rundown of community development. I'm happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Great, thank you so much, Mackenzie. And I will highlight just for the members of council, just want to recognize our finance clerk Debbie's efforts in Q1, Q2 as she was fulfilling the corporate communications gap. So I just want to recognize that she had like an additional assignment to deal with that, and she responded to it during Rebecca's absence. So just wanted to recognize that. And over to you, Mayor, if there's any questions. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, CEO. Any questions on community development? Councillor White?
Yes, I have two. The first one is, how many outstanding permits do we still have?
You're talking building permits?
Yes, he said, where are we at? Yeah, he said, well, closing outstanding permit files from 2024 and 2025 for building, the very top.
Is that something, planner, you can share?
That I do not know, but I can follow up with our community development assistant and our CBO when he's back and get a response out.
Perfect. And sorry, I'm just going to suggest that we do one email to council at the end if there's any follow-up questions rather than a bunch of individual ones, please.
Under the permits, any chance when it says other, can we take out agricultural buildings and do a separate line for those? We have a farming community here. It'd be nice to see if that could be.
Sorry, just for my.
Under Q2 by the numbers, he has other 36, and other permits include agricultural buildings, decks, pools, additions, and renovations. And I was just wondering if we could do agricultural buildings as well, instead of having them included with other permits.
I would say, yes, it's noted. We will add an additional line moving forward for the Q3 report,
Thank you.
if possible, through our data. Thanks.
Good, thanks, CAO. Good question. You had me thinking. Okay. What I was actually thinking was, you're asking for egg buildings. What if the deputy mayor asked for pools? What if he asked for, and then we're going to have it all broken down. But we'll go with egg. We'll go with egg, and we'll see how it goes at the next Q report. Councillor Trim.
Yes, I may be of some help for the first question, if I might, Mr. Mayor. The people now pay a deposit when they get a permit, and that deposit is returned when the final completion is made. And so I'm thinking that there are that number of outstanding permits that have deposits, but they haven't been returned because there hasn't been a final inspection. I'm thinking that's the answer to that question, but of course, it'll be followed up for sure.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Trim. He was our lead for ECDev and building, so good. Any other questions from council? I have 3, if no one else has any. Okay, good. Are you ready, planner? I'll knock you over here with the questions. Delegated authority, and I loved, this is good. This is a new addition to our quarterly reports. We have a delegation policy. The policy states that any time the delegated authority is executed by staff in accordance with the policy, it must be listed in the quarterly report. And I notice it's listed here, 3 developmental agreements. Can you provide any more detail on those agreements?
I could provide the context of when we use delegated authority for them. I would have to look at the specific files for more details, but for delegated authority for development agreements, it's for any development agreements imposed as a condition of consent. Generally, those agreements are to enforce requirements outlined in environmental impact study, hydrogeological report, aggregate impact assessment, any of those kind of things. They're pretty straightforward agreements. They just speak to, has to be developed in this way with approval by these people, attaches the reports and studies required, and then we have something registered on title with the lot that carries those studies and enforces those development regulations. Most typically, they're associated with environmental impact studies within our township, but in terms of the delegated authority, we only use the delegated authority with regards to ones that are conditions of consent.
That's perfect. So if we can just add that to the email, just the title of what the project would have been.
Yep.
Just puts it into public record.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. The next one is just, I wanted to comment on the community improvement plan marketing materials. I've seen that on social media. That's excellent. And it's being shared by our agricultural business community for sure. So great job on that one. The pole banners, I know that there's coordination right now to have them up in Beachburg.
Ivan, can you just turn on your mic?
Just curious if you had any dates or information on when those pole banners might get up. Again,
Yes. I believe the intention is sooner than later. I believe Hydro 1 is going to be handling putting them up on the poles. I would need to follow up with Rebecca to confirm specifically what our timeline for that is.
perfect. Good. Any final questions? Thank you, planner. Appreciate that. CAO, back to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. The next department is the Community Services Department. We have with us the Superintendent of Community Services, Al Griffith. So over to you, Al, and if you could just summarize some key points in the Q2 report. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, Ivan. So by the numbers in community services, our ball diamond usage was 37 hours. Our arena slab usage was 83 hours, and our upstairs hall in the Cobden Arena was at 86 and a half. The ball diamond is slightly higher than it was the previous year. The arena slab and the upstairs are roughly the same. Some of the key activities were we hired our summer students and they completed their training. The McDonald Burial Ground signage was to be installed with the help of the corporate assistant. She helped out a lot on the project. Student bursaries requested and received for the 2026 graduations at 6 to 7 local high schools. And staff training was completed. For the facilities and parks, parks and facilities, the activity, the parks and recreation policies and fire safety plans were reviewed and updated. And the ladder was installed at the raft at Little Lakes Beach. For the storm recovery, the Cobden Veterans Park emergency cleanup after the storm was completed in a timely manner using our recreation and public works staff, as well as a contractor. Flood assistance, the 2026 flood assistance provided by recreation staff at the Westmeath Arena, also with the help of the Westmeath District Recreation Association. And the Westmeath boat launch, the tender created and opened for bidding, approval from Department of Fisheries and Oceans received, and permit application sent to the Ministry of Natural Resources for approval of the work. Some key activities in the Cobden Arena for capital and operational. The capital work for the plant room, which was the compressor 2 and electrical panel, have both been completed, as well as the beam painting in the ice surface. Ice allocations were also initiated for the 26-27 season. And some of the programming we held was the Roy Church Memorial Cornhole Tournament, this was their second year. And the seniors fitness class that we hold upstairs had concluded at the end of June and is to restart in September. And also the Big Give was there as well, and it was held successfully. Some of the key activities at the tourist booth for Q2 was the water line repair that was also completed with the help of the Public Works Department. And the east trough we put an east trough on the tourist booth and painted the roof for the tourist booth and the gazebo beside it. The Cobden Legion crosswalk, initial meetings were held and approved through council. The Beachburg Fair, we had a coordinated effort with them, and it ran successfully. We have also opened the lending hub. It has opened mid-June. And the swim programs, the Pembroke information was confirmed and offered for residents to begin in the summer, and registration opened with Bonashare Valley Lake Dory Partnership. For the Whitewater seniors, a new agreement was successfully signed and confirmed with the Eganville and District Senior Citizens Needs Association. The 25th anniversary, there is a video presented and 2 more coming. Touch a Truck and Volunteer Expo Fair advertising was beginning. And then for work plan and strategic plan progress, remaining ongoing capital work and plans ongoing. Upcoming initiatives. At the Cobden Arena, we're putting a ceiling up in room 7 and 8 and replacing the water heater in the lobby. Delegated authority, the Cobden Arena compressor, the request for quotation was received under allocated budget and work was completed.
Good, thanks so much, Al. If I could just highlight, I mean, as I was reading through this, one thing is the programming that's happening in our community, namely the summer camps. So we've been able to build these relationships with the Boys and Girls Club together with the Killaloe Community Resources Center. So programming is something that we have not traditionally provided as a township. We have facilities and we have space, but we don't necessarily provide programming in comparison to other communities, I mean, in consideration of the cost. But we've been able to leverage these other organizations together with our swim programs, as Al has mentioned. I think this is a real big success for the township, for the department, so I just wanted to highlight that. Through you, Mayor, if there's any questions?
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Yes, just going up to the by the numbers chart. I know that superintendent has indicated the numbers are all up, and I'm wondering, perhaps it's not necessary for every quarter, Mr. Mayor, but it'd be nice if we could have, at least at the end of the year, a comparison to see how we're doing with those different facilities that we manage. I think that would be helpful. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. Easy.
Yeah, certainly. I think presently the agreements we have with the other organizations who are leasing those spaces, they could deliver us, we could request and they could deliver us those numbers, and hopefully we can get it in a timely manner to incorporate it in the Q4 or every quarterly report. Thanks, yeah.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Councillor White?
Yes, are we getting many entries for the Name That Plow? Do we know if we're getting a lot of interest in that, or?
I'm not 100% sure. Director Plebin's more looking after that, so that would be a question for her.
Councillor Mort?
In keeping with that, it says here, Name That Plow program running until the end of July. Final voting starts August 15th. So does that mean they're going to go through them on the 15th? But it still ends in July?
So there's, if I could, if you'll allow me, I think there's a series of, we're gonna have a lot of examples. We're gonna shortlist them for a voting period. So the shortlisted will be made by the end of July. We will publish the shortlist, and then we will get votes on the shortlist, is my understanding of the program.
That helps immensely. I understand now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor White?
But if final voting starts on the 15th of August, and the event is August 25th, we aren't going to have much time to vote for the public.
It may be an announcement at the event on the 15th. I'm not sure how she's got it managed, but we can get more information.
Yeah, we'll get more information. Thanks.
Good.
Sorry, I just want to say,
Good.
the actual event is on the 15th. I believe the idea was we're actually going to vote on the names at the event and award at the actual event. So they're all collected up to that point, done at the event, and then the announcement is kind of made at the event of what the names have been chosen for each plow while they're parked there. That was kind of, I believe, was the idea.
Good. And I see the planner. CAO, is that right, planner?
Just on the number of entries, we have roughly 100-ish entries for the Name That Plow contest.
Teamwork. This is exactly the work what we need. Good. Any other questions on this one? I have just a couple comments. I'm just going to highlight Westmeath Boat Launch. I know that they're down in Westmeath. There is a, you can imagine. Cobden Civitan donated funds in order to paint that roof as a partnership, and I think that was excellent investment. This keeps. Okay. And again, I'll just echo CAO, this partnership we have with other organizations in order to provide programming in their community is excellent, and that means we can facilitate it, we can provide space, and we don't have to run it. So it's excellent. It's a win-win-win. And thank you for highlighting the delegated authority. I think that's exactly what the amount of information council needs to acknowledge it. Good. With that, we'll move on.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I will cue. Oh.
Sorry, I have a banner update. La Paz Haley Station at Foresters Falls, Westmeath. Hydro One has begun installing banners today. And Beachburg is being done by ORPC soon.
Outstanding.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And that's
thanks.
from Rebecca. Same with the number of entries, just to
That's great.
give credit.
If I could, Sean, our technician, if you could play the video or the soundtrack from our fire chief with respect to his Q2 report. So
Second quarter.
Jonathan not being able to present, I've asked him to record something, and here we have it. Thanks.
Attended 175 non-emergency events. This included training, maintenance, and vehicle inspections, amongst other things. Our incidents were up slightly from Q1 to 35. This included 2 structure fires, 1 extrication, and 4 motor vehicle collisions. Key activities in Q2 included flood response and mitigation measures, including freshet meetings, sandbag filling, flood patrol, water barrier, and sandbagging along the Lackawanna Bay Causeway. This response included staff from all departments working together to mitigate the situation again this year. An on-scene firefighter decon process has also been implemented in Q2 to reduce carcinogens and exposure for our firefighters. A new records management system has been implemented as well. We're still working with Renfrew Dispatch to complete the CAD connection. An automatic aid plan review with Admaston and Bromley will be taking place in July. An emergency response plan review is taking place as we speak to deal with some of the issues identified during flood response, as well as our emergency management scenario completed in February. Upcoming initiatives include our Alarm for Life program, or our door-to-door smoke alarm program, as you may be more familiar with. It's been pushed to the fall from the spring due to the flooding. Pump testing was rescheduled from May to July to make sure that our equipment and apparatus are ready for deployment at all times. And training on the generously donated skid unit for forest firefighting from Global Medic is planned for the coming months. Thank you.
And through you, the mayor, to members of council, if there's any questions, and if I can answer them, I'll bring them back to the fire chief.
And council? Councilor Trim?
Yes, I know that the fire chief, Mr. Mayor, addressed this in this first sentence, but I missed it. I don't really know what the total 175 represents. Is that percentage? Is it hours? Is it? I missed that part. I'm sorry.
It's the number of calls that were received.
In the second quarter of 2026, the Whitewater Region Fire Department attended 175 non-emergency events. This included training, maintenance, and vehicle inspections.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Yeah, Councilor White.
It's not quite, well, maybe it is a question, but this forestry firefighting skid unit that Global Medics donated, I think I think it's wonderful that we received this. And is it strictly for forestry fighting, or can it be used for other things as well?
I think, I don't know what we're referring to as other things, but I will note that it's intended for the fire department to fight fires or training and the like. So that's the primary intent, yes. Thanks.
No other questions? Okay, I've got one. Poor treasurer is going to get this one. That's firefighting. We have been donated this forestry firefighting skid unit. Awesome. Didn't pay a penny for it, right? Got this excellent asset. How do we recognize whether that's an asset we want to replace, or are we going to consume it, and when it's done, it's sold as surplus? Is it part of our asset management plan? Are we now having other financial obligations for the firefighter?
So we actually had that discussion amongst the senior management team to kind of determine where that was, because it is something that the township has seen before from assets that have been either gifted to us or just taken over by the township. So at this point, Jonathan, or the fire chief's more piece on it was to try and see the use of it and to see how essential it is to the department itself as to what its overall cost would be. He said the overall components are relatively on the cheap side, so not inexpensive. It could go into our asset management plan, but again, it'll depend on what the deemed use is. So once they've done their training pieces on it and their testing of it to see if it's effective, then it will be the pieces, whether it'll be something that we'll rely on as a general asset, or whether it'll just be a surplus piece of equipment whenever it's actually completed at the end, whether we'll actually do replacements on it and things like that.
Perfect. That's exactly the process we want staff to be taking. We don't want to assume on a piece of equipment unless we purposefully do it. But give it to us, we use it as long as we can until we make that determination. Fair. No other comments from council on that? Excellent. CAO next, please.
That is the exact same question I asked the fire chief when he presented to me that we got this new device. I said, like, are we going to keep this forever? In any case, to our manager, to our director of public works, Lane Claroux, if you want to commence or transfer it over to our superintendent of roads. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CAO. In second quarter, there's a lot of training taking place. Thomas Hardwig completed the TJ Mahoney course, and Andrew McLeese, road superintendent, completed the Good Roads municipal health and safety course, and along with our mechanic Steve Pekarski, obtained his DZ license. For water and wastewater, the Haley drinking water system received inspection by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks. Aqua completed fuel inspection systems at all of our facilities for our diesel generators, and listed in the report will be upcoming repairs. The large project, the Beachburg water treatment plant renewal project, is nearing completion, with the only deficiencies being addressed currently. And then in the second quarter, the Clearwell repairs were completed, and I thank all the users in Beachburg for the drinking water limit their water usage during this time, and along with the few change orders that were approved by council, including the new dosing pumps and the chlorine analyzer, and then the carbon wastewater treatment plant. SEMA Plus, Aqua, and Township staff met with MECP to formally introduce the new project and also confirm if a ECA amendment would be required. And on the water side also, staff, mainly the summer students, completed a inventory of all the water services that are in place in all the commercial, institutional, and industrial properties. That's all been completed, and the next step is releasing a RFP for procurement of water meters. The landfill monitoring and reporting services. As you're aware, the council was awarded the new services to a new consulting firm, DM Mills Associates, for a 5-year term, and since then they've been on site and doing inspection of the landfill. And I'll pass it to the road superintendent, and I'll finish up.
All right, just to touch on a few points. We've continued coal patch, which seems endless and is at a significant increase this quarter over this time last year. To note, we have tried hot mix, getting hot mix from right from the plant, and trying that as opposed to the cold mix, and it seems to be a lot more durable. The dust control was started and completed for this year. Our spring road grading was started and completed and almost needs to start again. Roadside mowing was started and will be completed this afternoon. Some large asphalt patching has taken place in areas where we had water breaks or larger areas in need of repair. Street sweeping was completed, and all of our storm maintenance, catch basins cleaning was completed. Some brushing, Wright Road was finished, Broom Road has begun, Elmac was brushed and ditched, and yeah, I think that's all I've got for me.
Thank you. And just some upcoming initiatives. Staff are working with our asset management software and trialing a new inventory. So inventory and work order system. So we're just hopefully in this quarter, hopefully have it up and running. And then also hopefully receiving the landfill ECA amendment, hopefully coming up in either in third quarter or fourth quarter. And then just in the second quarter, various tenders were approved through the delegation authority. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Director Cleroux. Can you just advise? I understand there's a tentative or there's a potential date, upcoming date of the open house for Crawford. Do we have a sense of, is it August, is it September, as it pertains to the Crawford Street open house?
Yeah, I think currently hasn't not been scheduled, and our residents and along with staff and also will be notified along with general public during our website and social media.
Great, thanks so much. And through you to Mayor for any questions?
Council, any questions? Councillor Trim?
If I may, a comment and then a question. It's pretty obvious that we're doing an awful lot of coal patching and or patching in general, and that is certainly an indication of the condition of our paved surfaces. I'm wondering how this will end up at the end of this year, and what strategies maybe we would look at, because the most expensive way to maintain a road is by patching it. And so I'm hoping that this will give us some incentive to plan something differently. The other thing is, it's mentioned the dust control, and but the superintendent's report suggested that it might be completed. In the report here, it said dust control application began on June 2nd. If it's completed, there's a 10% decrease, so we didn't apply as much dust control this year as before, and so I'm just wondering if it is indeed completed, and what was the reason for less application, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, staff, please.
Yes, I take that. Yeah, so it has been completed. The decrease is just due to its inflation of the actual product itself within the budget.
Thank you. Good. Any other questions, Councillor Mort?
Just wondering if our current student population will be able to keep up with the potholes until they go back to school in approximately 3 weeks. Will that be enough time to get all the potholes done at least once before fall?
Yes, staff, please.
I doubt it, if I'm to be honest.
But hopefully they can get the big ones before they go back, because we're only looking at another 2 to 3 weeks, and then they'll be looking to leave. So we still have holidays to go yet with some of our full-time staff. So just curious on that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
If I could, my apologies, if I could interject on the question of potholes, and I will pose this question to our director with respect to minimum maintenance standards. Can you speak to whether or not the remark around potholes, are we meeting, or is there some risk around not meeting our minimum maintenance standards? Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, so start off with minimum maintenance standards. The road superintendent or designate does a road patrol, identifies potholes and various other items in the roadway. Also included from the general public, provides either calls in or provides it on a website, a complaint or a pothole, or council notifies us, and then we have a certain time period based on the class of the road. We have a certain time period to fill that pothole, and currently we strive and try to go meet or above beyond the minimum maintenance standard.
Thanks. I just want it to be noted that we are meeting our minimum maintenance standards globally to the members of council and the public. Thanks. Through you again, Mayor, if any questions.
Thank you, CAO. Councillor White.
Two things. The first is I'd like to thank our roads department specifically for we had the tour to Whitewater on the weekend, and there were quite a few cyclists in the roads. And I did mention to Mr. Cleary that if we could get them fixed, and the roads were well used and well done for us. Thank you, we appreciate that. Speaking of potholes though, I have to ask, is it just my imagination or are they much deeper now? Like I don't find potholes like this, I find them like this now. And I just spent $1,600 on my car, so I'm just questioning. Not that it's the pothole's fault, I'm saying, but that's what my mechanic told me. So anyways, just wondering about that.
So I'm gonna just, so we can keep going here. I know that the city of Ottawa has published a small thing about potholes, how they form, what makes them worse, how you treat them. I wonder if we can just borrow that information. We can distribute it to council. We could even put it on our website, just so people understand the mechanics behind a pothole, and how our road superintendent is constantly in battle with his nemesis. With that, I'll go to Councillor Bell.
Just have a question to the director or the superintendent. I did have a comment from a member of the public when before Government Road was started, as far as the resurfacing of that with the asphalt. We put a ton of cold patch down there to fill the potholes that were forming over the spring. And one of the comments that I got from one of the members of the public who used to be on a roads department is he was questioning why we were patching those potholes when the road was scheduled to be done within another 2, 3, 4 weeks, as opposed to going ahead, ripping up the asphalt, pulverizing it and turning it into a gravel road, which it basically is anyway before the asphalt was laid. I was just wondering kind of what the thought process is there whenever we know that we're going to be doing a road and then we put, so many dollars, so many pounds, tons of cold patch down on a road when we know that's going to be getting pulverized in the next month or so.
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, so with minimum maintenance standards, we do have a timeline we've got to meet, and Government Road was in very poor condition, and the timeline for when it was scheduled for the contractor to be pulverized, the road, and the time that it was would have been greater than the time allowed. The staff decided that it would be maintained just in case, like obviously there's damage to vehicles, and that's why it was done.
I'm going to follow up on Councillor Bell's there. Give him a second. But when would we decide to pulverize instead? Like bring a contractor in, pulverize the road so it was gravel for 6 or 8 or 10 weeks before it went to asphalt? Is there a decision point that's considered?
Throughout the actual tender, we'll specify when it's supposed to be done. Typically, what staff try to do, because once it's pulverized, there's a lot of dust comes from once it's pulverized, and then there's a lot of maintenance being done with that road that's been pulverized. In an ideal world, that staff will change any culverts, leaving the actual surface long as possible, and then change the culverts and then pulverize just before adding the gravel and then pavement.
So just to clarify, the work on the culverts is done prior to the asphalt being pulverized into the base of the road?
If possible, that's typically done to just provide with gravel road, not because it is a high traveled road, that to leave for safety, leave it short as possible time when it's gravel.
sorry, one more question. And the actual breaking up of that asphalt is done by the contractor. We don't provide any of those services ourselves with our own equipment?
For pulverizing, sorry?
Yeah,
That's
for the
correct.
deconstruction of the road prior to, once it gets turned into gravel for that, whatever it was, that 3 or 4 week portion, the township isn't doing any of that actual, that work is being contracted out to, I think it was Greenwood that got that contract for the asphalt. So Greenwood would have done all those services.
Yes, so it was Thomas Kavanagh won the extra tender.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, it was subcontracted to pulverizing to Greenwood Paving. In previous, like say like 3-4 years ago, we used to pulverize separately with a tender, but following in the cost of like just with the pulverizing costs and have risen over the last couple of years, and just following procurement that we included it within the tender in the last 2 years.
Councillor Trim.
Yes, I think I'd like to say this publicly. Councillor Moore mentioned, would it be possible to at least get the big potholes done? And I do understand the concern, but as it turns out, that's not a good strategy, because I don't know how many times previously, it's not happening now, but previously, ratepayers would come to me and say, what is wrong with the staff that they'll step over a pothole to fill a pothole? Can they not fill them all? And it doesn't matter that I say there's only so much time and there's only so much coal patch, so they were doing the worst ones. That doesn't please anybody, but I do know now that the staff start a road and finish a road, and I must say that the patching is being done very well, and it doesn't make the roads, the road is still rough, and the next major rainstorm, everything pops up again. But that's the strategy now, is to start a road and finish a road, and I think that for the public, it makes more sense. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Trim. Any other points? I had 2 questions. The first one is, and there's a lot of information here, so, but I'll just highlight 2. The guardrail repairs that were completed on Olmsted Jeffrey Lake Road. I've noticed at County Council that they actively fund those types of repairs through insurance claims to the vehicles that have caused the damage. Is that something that we also do?
If there's a police report that was done, and in this case, it wasn't done by vehicle, it wasn't done by public. If we do that are aware of it, and then if we can get a police report, yes, staff would.
Perfect. Good. And the other comment is just about the 306% increase in the cold patch being used. That is a very significant thing, and I appreciate the staff's effort, Superintendent Rhodes and his team, to ensure that our roads are as good as possible within the minimum maintenance standards. And that demonstrates to me that the condition of our roads. But that's a significant demand on labor. And to go from 100 tons to 300 or 400 plus tons, that's 4 times the work. And I'm curious, is that a reprioritization of employee time? Is that making full use of our summer students? How are we achieving this huge increase in labor? Is what is it coming at a cost to?
Well, it's, to answer that, it's both. Students have been a tremendous help, but it's full-time staff and students going at it. But when you deploy those resources for that function, you just don't have the resources to brush, to grade roads, it's kind of a shell game. And that's, yeah, I mean, it's like I have 3 crews out oftentimes just on patching. 3 crews, that's 6, 7 people, that's almost the entire department. just doing potholes. And, yeah, so it's a draw.
That is exactly what I had believed was happening, and that's an important, that I'd like you to bring that up when we go to budgeting discussions in the fall, when it comes after the elections, whoever's going to be here. But just to highlight that it is a trade-off. There is only so many people. We are prioritizing the minimum maintenance standards on our roads. But that is coming at a cost to a number of other services being provided. So council for you to mull about, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that at budgeting session. Good? All right, CAO, let's hit the next one, please.
Yeah, thanks so much. So the next department is Corporate Services, and I will pass it over to our Director of Corporate Services Treasurer, and if he wishes, he could pass it to the Deputy Treasurer. So over to the team. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CAO. I'll pass off to the Deputy Treasurer to go through the quarterly report.
Okay, so by the numbers, as of June 30th for property tax, so the second installment of the 2026 interim billing was due April 30th. A number of properties are still registered in the tax sale process, with 5 set to go for tender in November and 20 having a tax arrears certificate registered on title. The total outstanding as of June 30th was $1,788,463, but I would like to note that in Q1, so 2025 and prior, so everything but current, was 1.4 million, and Q2 was 1.1. So we have been working hard to get that caught up. So that's a difference of $289,000 we collected for prior taxes. For utility billing, we had 3,935 receivable outstanding, and the second billing for 2026 was due May 29th. For development charges for township-wide, we received 44,199, so that consists of 3 commercial and 15 residential. For water services, 2,601, which was 3 commercial, and water services was 3,734, which was 3 residential and 3 commercial. The budget, the general fund, overall showing a $3 million deficit, but the revenue from taxation is not recognized until August final billing, and the revenue from the provincial and federal grants is also not recognized until those projects are completed. The water fund is a $20,000 deficit, but again, by Q2, you only have 2 of the 6 water bills processed. Some of our key activities, we've been working hard to get more residents enrolled in our resident portal. We went from 138 to 189, so that's 51 more residents. And that could be more than 1 property per resident, but we won't know until we run the final billing how many properties really are like saving paper and enrolled. Completed the annual grant reporting for seniors community and seniors active living grants, developed and presented to council a long-term debt strategy and policy for the use of debt financing, completed the 2025 fiscal year end process for audit and financial reporting, working on the implementation of the EV charging stations and of the electric vehicle. And then finance staff continued promoting electronic payment methods as well. So we have 15 new EFT, which means our accounts payable, instead of sending out a check in the mail, is paying directly to those payables. And then 14 new pre-authorized payment enrollments, so that's your tax and utility residents signing up to have pre-authorized. Our work plan and strategic plan progress, we're continually working on that asset management plan to meet legislation, and creation of a policy and procedure for debentures and the use of debt financing is underway. And upcoming initiatives, the completion of that asset plan in Q3, review of reserve and reserve fund policy with report on current balances, present to council that 2025 year-end audit, and then opening the EV charger stations and the electric vehicle rental program. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Back through you, Mayor, if there's any questions.
Councillor Moore, and then Councillor Bell.
Just one on page 12, utility billing receivable. How come in April it looks like we took a loss?
So it's actually not a loss, that's what's outstanding. And in April, we actually had so many residents pay ahead of time for their utilities that there was actually that much in credits. So
Okay.
it's not that it's, yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Bell?
Just looking at the numbers for the online property tax utilization, so we're at 189 properties, that's correct? Properties, not
People,
residents?
yeah.
People. So I'm just wondering, with the billing season coming up for number 3 and 4, whether there's a communication strategy or a push that we can try to get more people signed up for that. Like, we're paying for that online software, we have that set up, it makes it a little bit easier on staff. I know information was sent out with the billing statements, but I'm just wondering if there's another communication strategy that we can maybe employ to try to get more people signed up for that, just for the efficiency of that program. I know I'm online, works really well, I find it very easy to use. And if it's going to help save some staff time and if it's a little bit more efficient for the office, I'm just wondering with those tax bills coming out in the fall, whether now's the time to try to look at alternative ways to try to get people signed up on that platform.
I can answer that for sure. So currently, we're actually doing quite a few things. It's kind of the forefront for the finance team. So one thing that we're doing is new owners, we're gonna do a little welcome kind of pamphlet, and it'll include how to get onto your online portal. Anytime we have a resident email or call us looking for a reprint of any of their bills, we always encourage them to sign up online. It's also going on our current that is going out with the tax bills, and then we are pushing it on social media. So we really are trying to get it out there.
Good. Any other questions? Councillor Trim?
Yes, I'm happy to know that the EV charging stations seem to have been commissioned. I know in Westmeath, I have a picture of a car charging during the tour to Whitewater. And so I'm hoping that that also can somehow be advertised, that we are now providing that service in a number of locations in our municipality. Thanks.
It's noted.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions? The only thing, just to kind of build on Councillor Bell's question about increasing signups, PAPs and the residential portal, I've seen other municipalities offer credit where, postage would be $10 a year or something. And if you sign up, you get $10 credit on your taxes. And it's expensed out of the postal budget or whatever. Just another option to consider if we're looking to try to get people to sign up, be motivated to sign up.
It's, that's something I've heard of before too. It's not something that's been considered here. The more side was, whenever it was originally said to be implemented, it was the savings of the actual postage that gets reallocated to all, as the fact that it just decreases the overall budget for requires, so it's dispersed amongst everybody as a decrease to overall taxes as a whole. Because it's kind of, in those type of situations, it's more one person's paying for another person not. It's a hard one to kind of allocate and track for. But the other side too is, like the Deputy Treasurer had mentioned, we want to put something in with the tax bills so everybody receives it this year, and really do a push with the PIN number as to where the location of that is on the actual bill, how to find it on our website. Right now it's right full front facing. As soon as you go onto our website, it's the first pop-up that comes up. So we're very much pushing that side. And as soon as you have your tax bill, they won't have to contact the office to get that information. It'll already be on the tax bill. So the sign-up process will be easy. And like she had mentioned, as soon as we get a number of how much we're going through, like how many bills we're not mailing out, we'll be able to start reporting that back to council as the overall savings as to what we're seeing for the township. There's been multiple different things that we've done to kind of streamline postage that the Deputy Treasurer has done, and those types of things really help to streamline that process, and we're just trying to get to that next thing of more electronic. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. All right, CAO, what's next?
Yeah, and I think if I could.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Interrupt you, but Councillor White.
Sorry, so if we have pre-approved payments, we don't have to do any, we don't have to sign up because we're already paying. You aren't sending me a bill, right?
You still want to sign up. So anybody who's on pre-authorized payment still gets a copy of their bill, so they know what they're paying for and how much they're paying. It does, like your final taxes, that, right? Like they change every year. So you're still getting a copy of what your pre-authorized payment is paying for. So on your bill, it'll actually say you are participating in the pre-authorized payment. This is your monthly withdrawal, or if you're on installment. So we still send them. So it's ideal if you're already on PAP actually to use the portal, because then you're completely paperless. Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a legislative requirement. If we go to change pre-authorized payment plans amounts, there's a stipulated number of days we have to tell you in advance. So one way or another, a piece of mail would have to be sent to you. So a change happened a number of years ago to change it over to, so it goes out with tax bills. So we're only sending out one piece of paper, but you still need to know about it to get it. So if you get it electronically, it just avoids everything.
Good. All right, CAO. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I think, I mean, not to discuss this further, but the number of residents on the portal is relative to the people who are paying, like who are physically, individually paying their taxes. A lot of people have their mortgages paying. So maybe as an indicator of how many people are doing it, we should try to figure out what the numbers are relative to the people that are having their mortgages paid for. Something for the next quarter report. Okay, Office of the CAO. So just highlighting a few things. I've already spoke about the flood response, but noting that as the CAO, I served as the EOC director during the flood response. Highlighting a couple economic development items. So one is we've sort of transferred the file of the Teminko non-mineral land acquisition to the County of Renfrew Economic Development Team. That was done, I think, in the fall, early winter. I am happy to note that the County of Renfrew have filed an application to acquire the lands to the Ministry of Natural Resources. So that was like the next step. The application's filed. It takes some time, but I'm happy to know that that's been done, and thanks to the county for doing that. We've also completed the transfer of the CN rail line. So the direction from council was that we transfer the CN rail line that runs from the Quebec Bridge to Laurentian Valley to the County of Renfrew. So that transfer has been completed, and it's now in the hands of the County of Renfrew. Moving to the meetings I've attended, so just noting a facility tour and discussion with Magellan Aerospace, so discussion around their initiatives. Attended the County of Renfrew Whitewater Region paramedic base ground opening or groundbreaking. Attended intermunicipal meeting with the mayor and CAOs from Pembroke, LV, Petawawa, Deep River. A few topics of discussion are noted there. And attended a meeting with Marianne McNeil, the Inspector Detachment Commander at the Renfrew OPP, so very important meetings. Noting here, a confirmed delegation request at AMO, so with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Ministry of Infrastructure, Seniors and Accessibility have been confirmed, and we're just waiting to hear from the Ministry of the Environment and Ministry of Finance, so we are preparing for that as we have upcoming initiatives. Lastly, just noting preparing for the election, so candidate nomination packages were prepared. We're working on a preliminary list of electors, preparing internet, phone, tabulator setup of voting mechanisms, and then we've passed necessary bylaws to supplement the election. So aside from that, I think that pretty well covers it. The last thing maybe to note is the continued advancement of the 2026 asset management plan. So we're continuing to advance that with information with our consultants. So closing out the Office of the CAO, and as it pertains to the council business, the next section, I mean, it summarizes what council has heard in Q2. So if there's any questions on any of those two items, we'll be glad to answer them. Thanks so much.
Thanks, CAO. Any questions? Okay, I got two. We're going to take a break after the next. Just two questions. First one, you can go. We have quorum. Licensing. I notice we do a number of licensing. That's a significant number year to date when you add that all up. And just acknowledging that we currently, which staff within the office of the CAO supports that large process?
Yes, I think it would be the position of the clerk. Now, our clerk is away at the present moment, so we have a corporate assistant on a contract who is, primarily supporting these processes. Certainly, when it's presented to me, I'm just commonly just signing things as the acting clerk. But together with that corporate assistant, there's also a role that MLES plays, so Municipal Law Enforcement Services, or by Law Enforcement Services, where they are connecting with non-compliant or supporting the corporate assistant in some of these things, like inspections for the kennels and the backyard chickens. So they're also playing a role with it. Thanks.
I only highlight it because it is something I tend to get the calls about, is, these applications, whether they're, some cases they might be last minute or there's a hiccup and they need to be worked through. So that's important. The other point I just wanted to stress for council and the public is the Minister of Infrastructure has agreed to meet us again. This will be the 8th time that we'll be meeting with the Ministry of Infrastructure about water and wastewater. So it is significant that they will continue to meet with us and try to work with us to find a solution. Good. Thank you, CAO. Next and final, please.
The council business, I spoke to it briefly, so it just summarizes what council heard in Q2, bylaws and presentations from delegations and reports. So it just summarizes it in an enumerated list. But aside from that, I just want to thank staff for their contributions to the Q2 report and to members of council and the public for listening. Thanks so much.
Good. Any final comments or questions? Councillor Moore?
Just one, and I'm sorry, we have to go back through the report, but we don't have to, but the signing on Highway 17 for the graveyard going up Sutherland Road. Do we maintain that graveyard?
CAO?
So I think in the last couple of years, we have commenced the maintenance of that cemetery. I understand that in working, some of the contributors to the cemetery have agreed to provide some maintenance. I think we've procured a lawnmower for them to do the maintenance now, so we could, leverage our staff elsewhere. So I guess it's a combined approach.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other final questions? Good. I just want to thank staff, the effort, and I know it's something to go through on a Thursday afternoon, but we really appreciate it. It is a snapshot of the last 3 months, and some very important details in there that can queue up members of the public or council, and I love the new format. So good, hats off to staff. I think it's easy to read. It provides the information right at our fingertips. So thank you. With that, I will be calling for the vote. Oh, Councillor Trim, yes.
I'm sorry. Just as an omission. I noticed that going through the staff teams, Mr. Mechanic Steve Pekarski is not listed. Just
Noted, and there are another, for example, our corporate assistant, presently Sarah is not present as well, so we will make those corrections.
Okay, thank you.
So much.
Excellent. Good. Thank you for that catch. Excellent. And with that, I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. And with that, we'll take a short 4-minute recess, please, and we'll jump back on. Welcome back to the Township Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Thursday, July 23rd. We're going to call ourselves back to order here at 3:04 p.m. We just completed the first report, which was the administration report, very thorough, gave council an opportunity to talk with staff about a number of items with respect to the last quarter, so very much appreciated. But now we get back into the other reports. Item 10.2 is the lifting of a holding symbol for Wren subdivision. And the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve an amendment to the Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw number 2401-1655 for portions of the property known as blocks 30 and 31, registered plan 49M-106, and part of Block E, registered plan 65, to lift a holding symbol and rezone them from residential 1 holding to residential 1 zoning. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Trim, seconded by Councillor Moore. Okay, so those people that are following along, I just had to change the language. I didn't change the content, but I changed the order of the sentence that was presided in the agenda, just to make it flow. Good, and with that, I'm turning it over to the planner. Planner, please.
It's through Mayor Nicholson. So Wren subdivision phase 3 and 4 was draft approved on December 18th, 2025. At the council meeting June 17th, council received a report and authorized or passed a bylaw to execute a subdivision agreement with BI in order to fill the draft conditions of approval. At the time of that report, there were 4 draft conditions that were unfulfilled: the approval of subdivision agreement, submission of a final R plan, submission of a final composite utility plan, and the zoning bylaw amendment to lift the holding symbol. Since then, we've completed 2 of those conditions, which was the approval of the subdivision agreement as was fulfilled at last council, and the submission of a final composite utility plan as we've received. So at this point, we're proceeding with the zoning bylaw to lift the holding symbol on this property. The holding symbol is in place to restrict the ability to develop the lands until such time as a subdivision agreement with the township can be put in place to ensure orderly development. As noted by the previous meeting, we have a agreement in place at this time that will ensure orderly development on the lot, and thus we deem it appropriate to remove the holding symbol at this time. With the removal of the holding symbol, the draft conditions would be considered largely met at this point. So planning staff would be looking to proceed with issuing a letter to the county and proceeding with final approval of the subdivision, subject to receipt of the final survey, R plan and M plan, which will be is typically completed after subdivision agreement has been signed. It will be redline adopted into the subdivision agreement. As noted in the previous meeting, staff can confirm it is satisfied with engineering related to civil works, stormwater management, all utilities, parkland, and landscaping requirements have been met, and is satisfied that subdivision agreement outlines the obligations of the owner regarding execution of the works, deposit of financial securities, and necessary testing and site works. With all that in place, staff's recommending approval to lift the holding symbol at this time.
Excellent. Thank you, Planner. Any questions or comments? Mover first, Councillor Trim. No. Good. And Councillor Moore, seconder? Good. Any other questions or comments from folks? No. Excellent. As was mentioned even in our delegation today, it's great to see this type of investment happening in our community and expansion through this subdivision. Thank you, staff, for I think this subdivision was first created in 1991 or so. So it has been percolating for a while. It's glad to see it finally come to fruition, and we're going to see some new houses. With that, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, Planner. Next item, 10.3, is road naming. Recommendation is the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region enact a bylaw for the naming of a private road named Ward Trail. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Bell, seconded by Councillor White. And this is going to our Director of Public Works.
Yes, thank you. This is a simple report just to Mayor Nicholson presented that bylaw to bring in into a road system, Ward Trail, which is a private road off of Clunge Lake Trail. There was three consent applications that were done in the township, and one was creating a private road on one of the parcel of land, which is Part 3 of Plan 49R 20136. If council adopts bylaw, that bylaw would be brought to will be sent to the county Renfrew for final adoption, included in the county's and the municipal's road network. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Director. Councillor Bell, mover, and Councillor White, seconder. Any other comments from members of council? I'll go to Councillor Moore first, please.
Just wondering, this isn't the first one that's come across our table in 8 years. What happens now with this trail if it comes up to standard? Do you take off the trail and it becomes a road, or how does that work?
So trail and lane, for example, are typically deemed for private road. We do have, as in Clunge Lake Trail, for example, it's a municipal road, but still kept the trail. If it ever got brought forward, I think staff would be to actually change it to a correct Sussex to have the correct road or to actually have it so it's not for trail, for example. So we would change it.
Okay, so it's council decision then, has to be brought forward in order for it to change.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Councillor Trim, please.
Yes, I'm going to make an assumption here that this already exists. This trail already exists, and we have a private road agreement, and that the fire department has been down to ascertain whether or not it's suitable for providing emergency services. I'm making that assumption. Am I right?
Director?
That is correct. It's been, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
I believe it's been in the last 6 years, any new development that requires a private road has to have a private road agreement, and that triggers all of the things that you spoke to. That's good. Any other questions? With that, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.4, which is a tourism information signage policy. So the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region adopt the tourism information signage policy and approve a bylaw to amend bylaw 2601-1804 and 2605-1835, 2026 user fees and charges. A mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Trim, is there a seconder? Councillor Moore? Perfect. And back to Director of Public Works, please.
Yes, thank you. If council remembers, back in 2024, council adopted an encroachment agreement with Owl Rafting, Whitewater Brewing Company, Whitewater Cottage and RV Resort, and Whitewater Village to permit a sign at the corner of Grant Settlement and Rafting Road. Following that, the sign was never put up, and then since the applicants have been working with the applicant that they actually would want to clean up the intersection to have actually a TOD sign, so tourism a tourism oriented directional signage, what the county Renfrew already has a program for, which the Owl Rafting requested that the existing sign, the county sign on Grant Settlement be moved an additional sign be placed in head of that showing of these 4 businesses. Further that, the township staff had a meeting with the County of Renfrew to determine what the process would be, and then determine that typically the County of Renfrew only puts these signs on county roads and on municipal roads. And further that, and the current sign that was there and also signage on Colesmith was back in the early 2000s, an agreement with the township to have these signs on municipal roads, and that they wouldn't put any new Todd signs on municipal roads. And hence, and that's why this report came forward to promote tourism, to have a similar program as the County of Renfrew's, which would provide a formal policy in guidance document. So instead of having it being reported back to council for approval for an encroachment agreement, that this policy would provide any tourist or in business listed in the policy and also in the report. So the policy establishes a criteria for what tourism means, standardize the actual design of the sign, sign placement and safety standards, and along with the application and approval process, and the cost and the maintenance. Types of in the actual policy, there's a whole list of businesses, but just a high level, the type of business would include accommodations, cultural attractions, indoor recreation, outdoor services and venues, parks and outdoor recreation, theme parks, and tourism and shopping. There's 2 signs being proposed that would match the County of Renfrew's tourism-oriented signs. So it'd be a smaller sign that'd be typically one by themselves, which is 1 foot by 4 feet in size, and then the larger attraction which you've seen around the township that would be 2 feet by 4 feet, and typically there's more than one business. That'd be on the signs showing the actual, like the logo, the name of the business, and the direction with the number of kilometers. If you can scroll down, and the policy shows the actual signs. Yeah, so very typical. The program would be very similar to the County of Renfrew's to make it easier for the applicant to apply. The applicant would have to apply for any, would be separate from the County of Renfrew's program. So they have to apply for the County of Renfrew and also apply for the township's roads. And if you scroll down, yeah, this is a typical sign would have, scroll down right there, sorry. Would have the 2 feet by 4 feet larger signs, would also have a topper sign have Whitewater Region and a logo on it. Yeah, this is being brought forward just to promote tourism. If any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. Mover, Councillor Trim.
Yes, my main concern, this is great, but that there's full cost recovery, that seems to be what's put in place, and I imagine that'll be reviewed in 5 years. So I fully support that. Thank you.
Good. Seconder, Councillor Moore.
Now that we've got this far, I'm just wondering if we're going to proceed in the near future with other people wanting to put up signs, mainly businesses. This is specific for tourism, so just wondering if we're going to do businesses as well. Because you read the title, tourist information signage. It doesn't say anything about local businesses, etc. So I'm just wondering if I'm reading too much into this, or do we need to change the name title?
Good. Any comments, Director?
Yes, currently we don't have a sign bylaw currently right now for there's for signage on buildings, for example, also in signage within our, I think you're referring to signage that's in the municipal right of way. Currently, we don't have a policy on that, and it's one item that would have policy would help staff guide these, like have a policy to guide signage in our right away. So that's something that would be in the future.
Yeah, because there's home businesses now popping up, and, you know, we have a couple of local sugar shacks that attract business, or people in the spring, so I hate to restrict it to just these businesses when we have other businesses out there that may want to take part, just for the future.
Noted. Good. And other questions? Councillor Bell.
So with this, we still don't have a policy for the signs that already exist in those municipal roadways, is that correct?
That's correct.
So the signs that are currently up that aren't subject to any current policy aren't going to be asked to be removed or adjusted in any way at this point.
That's correct. Staff haven't done a review and inventory of what signs that currently are in our right of way, including if they have a previous agreement or not. That hasn't been done yet.
Good. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Bell.
Sorry, is that going to be coming back to count? Like, is that in the process of being reviewed, or is that parked currently? Because I'm just wondering, we're putting these signs up now. That doesn't really resolve the issue that came forward about that corner at Whitewater and Rafters Road, correct?
That's correct. So, staff wouldn't be pursuing the businesses that signage that are currently there.
Sorry, so just one follow-up for final clarification. So this is an option for new businesses that want to put up signage basically under this new policy or this new option that's available through the township. But if that issue comes forward again, staff need direction to be able to pursue clarifying or coming to some sort of consensus on the policy as to what signs are allowed to be put up in the municipal roadway.
That's correct. Yeah, the process how I foresee it, we come with an actual signage bylaw within our right of ways, and also do an inventory to determine if there's previous if the business sign that's already been in there, if they already have a previous encroachment agreement with the municipality. So there'd be some research and staff time to identify the signs, and also if there's, and to do the actual research.
But again, you're not doing that until you get directed by council.
That's correct.
Okay.
Good. So just to highlight that again, because that was the same vein I was thinking in, is that we are offering a new service here, identified by the gap in the county pods plan. Previously, they were going to do all the tourist signs at the county level, including municipal ones. That is not the case anymore. For us to do tourism signs, we had to create our own policy. That does not clean up all of our signs, the grandfathered signs, the encroachment authorized signs. That is the next step in this process, if and when council decides to make it.
Sorry, I'm just wondering if part of this policy should be moving forward any signs established after this policy is put into place, whether there's an appetite to make this whether there should be an addition to this policy that states any business that wants to put up a sign in the municipal roadway or I guess on the municipal right of way, that this is the way we're doing it now. It doesn't clean up the signs that are currently there or any disputes that'll come up for signs that exist. But I'm wondering if there's an appetite for that, or whether that makes sense. We've gone this far to create this policy, create some sort of cohesion with the businesses and tourism. I'm just wondering if that should be an addition into this policy.
Raises a good point. Now, I know the policy encompasses only some businesses that might want a sign. So it would only be applicable to those businesses identified in the policy, those types of businesses in the policy. But staff, do you have a comment or your thoughts on Councillor Bell's point?
Yeah, and I believe this is probably a very common issue with these type of signs that typically, like in most municipalities, it is only around tourism. I'm not saying that some municipalities allow more than just the tourism businesses, but what's being presented currently is following the same general as a counter for, and also the province's type of businesses.
My only worry is that this dispute's gonna pop up again, coming up, and we're providing an option, but not a solution for future issues that may arise at a location like that. Not to stay on this point too long, but I'm just wondering, I don't know I guess that would be a motion to put forward if we wanted to add that portion into this policy, whether we wanted to adopt this and incorporate all businesses that want to put signage on the municipal right of way, that this is the way that we're going to do it from this point on, and other signage potentially grandfathered or whatever, but I'm not going to put that motion forward right now, but maybe a point of discussion for another meeting or maybe the next council.
So it is a great point, and really what the discussion, I think, is, do we want to have a sign policy to include tourism, but a sign policy for everything on our property? And you're right, that's either a notice of motion, it's either some other mechanism to bring it up to council, put it on the priority list. I know we're gonna talk about departmental work plan next. Maybe that's a discussion when you can examine the workloads and then make a decision if you want to make a notice. Good, but I think keeping this current policy, it's scoped. I don't know if we can easily increase its scope without basically going back to the drawing table. Fair, council? Good. Any other questions on this one? Good, I see none. I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Good. Any opposed? None? Carried. Good. Next one, 10.5. Sorry, are we good to keep going? Yeah. Okay, 10.5. Sale of land at 2272 Mindview Road, which is the property just across from our municipal garage. That council, the Township of Whitewater Region 1, declare the property legally described as part of Lot 7, Ross Concession 5, Part 1, the draft survey prepared by Adam Kasperzak Surveying Limited, file 265047B, surplus to the township's needs, and authorize its sale to Snow Country Snowmobile Region, OFSC District 6, and enact a bylaw for the purposes of authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute necessary documents. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor White. And this is going to me. Moore. Thank you for that correction. Seconded by Councillor Moore.
Thank you.
And CAO.
Yeah, I apologize for the number 1 in the resolution. The survey plan's not complete, so I had to reference the surveyor and the date of the survey that's attached to this report. In any case, so back in the early 90s, the former township of Ross relocated their municipal garage from this 2272 Mindview Road across the road to 2271. So that was a newly constructed facility at the time. So after that, back in 2013, 19, and again 2025, the township entered into lease agreements with Snow Country in order to lease that former municipal garage. I believe it has 4 or 5 bays. And then as a result of the last lease agreement, the Snow Country had sought out whether or not we would sell them the building or whether the lease terms would change, i.e. like the annual rate of lease. We recognize that the building is dated, and there are some improvements that are needed. We did that as part of our building condition assessment. So the results of that is that we as staff, together with direction from council, thought that we were prepared to dispose of the asset because it had become surplus to our needs. So back in 2025, direction was provided to the CAO to engage in negotiations. And in February of this year, direction was provided to move forward with the sale and disposition. So we've had these conversations with Snow Country. We've agreed on negotiated terms, and now we're just coming forward with council to deem it surplus and move forward with the sale of land. So I'll highlight the terms. So the agreed sale price is $23,321. So that sale price includes an exchange of funds of $15,500 for the sale of the building. In addition to that, we are transferring to them our building condition assessment. So we prepared a BCA from 2025, and we are transferring that BCA to them, and they're covering that cost. So it was $6,614. And also, we've conducted some hazardous materials surveying, designated substances, at a cost of $1,200, and they've agreed with the transfer of that report back to them that they would cover the cost of that. So the 23 includes the delivery of those two reports as part of the purchase and sale agreement. They have, at their cost, completed the survey, which is attached as attachment number 1, and they have agreed to pay the legal fees. So we're at a point where the survey plan needs to be registered, which will happen very shortly. If it's not already done, we will then move forward with the transfer. So we're at the last steps here, and we just need the final direction from council. Thanks so much.
Thank you, CAO. Deputy Mayor, as the mover, any points, comments, questions?
This time, thank you. Glad.
Councillor Moore, seconder.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Any other members of council? No? Excellent. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, CAO. Last report is 10.6, which is the departmental work plan update. This is the mid-year update of the CAO's work plan. Recommendation that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive the 2026 departmental work plan update for information purposes. Mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Trim.
Sorry.
And CAO, please.
I'm so excited to speak. So what council has before them is our annual midterm or mid-year update as it pertains to our departmental work plan. This is the 2026 departmental work plan. It was received by council in February of this year. It includes 32 strategies that were identified within the different corporate services or departments. The departmental work plan demonstrates how council's direction is translated into operational actions and provides accountability for the delivery of municipal services. The February delivery to council was a function of the approval of the budget. The budget got approved mid-January, which then allowed staff some time to focus in on the departmental work plan, shaped not only by our strategic plan, our strategic direction, but also shaped by the 2026 budget. So I will not run through each of the departmental work plan items, just noting that attachment 1 provides the summary in the right column, which is an additional column. It either notes completed, so the project is finished, progress, or in progress means it's commenced and is expected to be completed by end of year, and then expected is not commenced and may be delivered this year or may form part of a subsequent departmental work plan. So that's how we've divided it: completed, in progress, expected. And then the attachment 2 is also a summary of progress for our 2026 capital budget expenditures. Again, right column has the same denotations to express where we are in each of those projects. So, I mean, I'm glad to say that we're July, so we're 6 months in. It's not the end of the year, and we haven't crossed off every single thing. We have been faced with some challenges. One is flooding. Certainly, that's a big time. We spent a lot of time managing the flooding in 2026. We are also carrying over other projects from 2025 and trying to move those to completion. One major project would be the water treatment plant at Beachburg. So focusing our attention on carryover projects is hard to get to our next projects. Other ones, just day-to-day stuff, managing staffing, human resources. So yeah, I'm pleased to present this to council. If there's any questions, we won't go through it, but if there's any questions today or in the next couple of weeks, feel free to bring them to my attention. Thanks so much.
Thanks, CAO. Mover is Deputy Mayor. And Councillor Trim. Any other folks? Not to question about any of the particular items, but I do appreciate the cross-through for the completed ones. I think that's a great format. But the capital and special projects update that's included as the last slide, the updated cost column, I just wanted to make sure that was clarified. Updated according to what is that? And if it is updated since what we approved in the budget, can we get some amplification on that?
So there is nothing actually updated. It's just what is the current cost of the actual project that was originally set as the budget. It wasn't a set change to what the actual completed cost was at this time. That'll be part of the year-end report, because a lot of projects, while they may be completed physically, they haven't maybe been completed financially.
Okay, so that updated cost column is really budget 2026 number.
That's correct.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to see. Good. Good. Nothing else from council? Okay, so as CAO said, please take some time to go through it. You want to propose a new policy? Sometimes we talk about sign policies. We're going to talk about vehicles on off-road vehicles shortly. This mechanism, this tool gives council and staff and the public the opportunity to see what the priorities are and how those might be reprioritized based on new things that you've liked to propose. So that is your reference point to do that with. Good. Call for a vote then. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you, CAO. Good. Good. We're on notices of motion. Go around the table. Is there any notices of any motions that folks would like to put forth today? Good. Oh, Councillor White.
I don't know if this is the place for it, but we have a problem in our municipality, as far as I know, of people infilling without permission, and then we have to correct it. So I'm just wondering, could we do something, like right now, we can ask them to mitigate the situation, so they just have to re-dig out what they put in. But can we sort of find them as well, so that it's not that easy to just put the fill in and take the fill out?
Good. So what I'd propose, and what you can do, and clerk, in your role, correct me if I go wrong here, but you could put a notice forward that you wanted to put something on the floor to deal with an infill policy. You'd have to sketch that out with a little more detail for the actual resolution, but you could do that with staff afterwards. Good. Clerk, any comments?
No comments as it pertains to the procedural matter. Just a point of clarity for myself, maybe for the members around the table. The infill is pertaining to the floodplain. Is that my understanding?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
So good. So just for the clerk's record here, it's a notice of motion from Councillor White to deal with a floodplain infill policy. Right? And you'll iron that out before it comes back to council. Good. And notice of motions? Notice of motions? Good. I see no more. So we have one notice of motion. Thank you, Councillor White. Good. We'll move on to the next item, which is correspondence. There's one requiring direction that's in front of us today. And this is a resolution that's been provided by the Township of Laurentian Valley. They're requesting the County of Renfrew to prohibit off-road motorcycles on the Algonquin Trail. Now, that is a County of Renfrew responsibility in terms of that Algonquin Trail. And you can see the attachments to the resolution. And the recommendation before us is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region direct staff to include a review of the Township's bylaw 1606870, being a bylaw to regulate the operation of off-road vehicles on municipal highways in the Township as part of the 2027 Departmental Work Plan. Is there a mover and a seconder to put this on the floor? Councillor White? Is there a seconder? And Councillor Moore? Good. Does staff want to make a comment first based on what's been provided on the agenda?
Yeah, if I could, just very briefly, I think the intent here to move this resolution of Laurentian Valley as an item for direction is that I recognize that our current bylaw pertaining to the regulation of off-road vehicles on municipal highways is dated. It's from 2016. I think it would be common practice that we just generally update 10-year-old bylaws. We, through one of our councillors, have engaged with OPP and recognize that there's some discrepancies in our current bylaw to what is in fact in place today. So this is a way to put it before staff. It's a way for council to direct staff, recognizing that it is unlikely to be accomplished this year, so it would move to 2027. So no position as it pertains to types of vehicles. It's just, let's look at the bylaw again, review it, and see where we move from there in 2027. Thanks.
Perfect. So using the resolution that's been worked on specific to the Algonquin Trail and just saying this is a topic we recognize we need to do some internal work on within our township boundaries, and therefore this would just be direction to staff to include it in 2027. We're not tying the hands of the future council. They can reprioritize that departmental work plan as they see fit, but this would put it on the list. Good. So a mechanism for a signed bylaw if that was something you were wanting to pursue. Good. So I'll go to my mover first, which is Councillor White.
I have been meeting with the OPP over this issue because there have been concerns from residents in various areas of our municipality, and I'll be meeting with them again tomorrow. So this is sort of coming at the appropriate time that I can bring back more information once I meet with the staff sergeant. Thank you.
Seconder, Councillor Moore.
And this is only referring to the Algonquin Trail. This has nothing to do with the newly to be named trail through the part of our township?
No,
This
to
is
be
just
clear,
the Algonquin.
the resolution that's been provided by Laurentian Valley is with respect to the trail system, both of them. But the resolution in front of us that we're debating right now is specific to the Township of Whitewater Region bylaw 1606870, which has nothing to do with trails.
Okay.
But has everything to do with off-road vehicles.
All right, thank you.
Okay, did you have any comments? I can come back to you, Councillor Moore. Is there any other comments from other members of council? No, I think it's an appropriate opportunity to recognize the challenges we are having in some of our communities and the use of off-road vehicles. So this review will be appropriate come 2027. Good. And I'm going to just pause to make sure Councillor Moore doesn't have any other questions.
Okay, yes, I do believe we had this discussion somewhere.
Yes.
That we were going to bring this up, that it had to come back to us, so yes, sorry.
Good, excellent. And with that, I will call for the vote. All those in favor? It's unanimous. 2027 work plan. Thank you, staff, for that. That's a great, great initiative. Information items. We have a number of information items. I'm not going to go through the information items. Council can ask to have one pulled out for our discussion, except for one. Two. Again, I want to recognize Fraser, Morris, Hebner, Wayne, and Betty on their 150th anniversary. And again, now it's included in the public record as one of our information items. And the report, the Eganville Seniors Q1 2026 Council Report, excellent. And I'm glad to see the MOU has delivered on that communication piece for the council. I just was wondering to ask staff if that is a report that should be brought forward to our committees and boards section of the agenda. I leave staff to consider whether or not it might be better moved and for future discussion. With that, is there any member of council to discuss any of the information items in A, B, C, or D? Councillor Moore.
Item D, I was a little perplexed by that letter from the Ministry of Transportation stating that they download all their roads onto the lower structure, meaning the county and province. Did I misread that? Department of Highways is, or Highway 17 is federal, is it not?
I am looking for the downloading language that you're referring to. Did
Item
not-
D, federal.
No, that was a response from the Minister of Transportation and Leader of the Government in the House of Commons, Honorable Stephen McKinnon, and it was in response to a resolution that we as a council forwarded to him in support of double laning Highway 17.
Okay, because
So
I read it a little
it-
different. I
Yeah.
took it that he didn't want any part of it.
So it's the expansion of highways 11 and 17, but we were basically putting a resolution of support behind a NOMA and county resolution.
So he's still in favor of twinning Highway
That's right.
17?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's just as, basically he's acknowledging it and continues to see it as a priority within all of their other priorities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Good, I know it's a lot there, but if there is, please, staff, is there anyone that you wanted to highlight?
No, I guess not no, yes.
Okay.
Under the subsection B, there is a resolution that was passed. It's a REUSOL number 110-26, countywide review of communal services. I only just bring that to your attention. It's a resolution passed by Greater Madawaska about requesting the County of Renfrew to take, I think, leadership around communal services, water and wastewater. So communal services would be like not an urban area service. We have a water or wastewater treatment plant, sort of a rural service level where there's multiple houses on the same service. We have this sort of a similar model in place for our Champlain Village, which is next to Splash Valley. But just to your attention, if a member of council wishes, once they review it, maybe at the next meeting, bring this forward as a resolution, bring it to my attention, and we could pass a similar resolution. Thanks so much.
Good. Some homework. Okay, with that, we'll move on to announcements, and I'll start with the Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor Nicholson. I just have the one. On behalf of council and the Township of Whitewater Region, I would like to extend,
Kathy,
I'm sorry?
that is the memo I provided you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Oh, sorry, I thought that's what you wanted right now. Oh. Thought you wanted that under announcements. At that point, I have nothing. Thank you.
Good catch. Okay. Good, and I'll go to Councillor Bell.
Yes, sorry, just give me 2 seconds, I just want to confirm. Yeah, so it's the Whitewater Historical Society's Pioneer Day on the 8th. That's going to be held at the Ross Township Museum in Forsters Falls. So 8th, the time 1 till 4 p.m. So there's some entertainment and refreshments provided. So 1 to 4 in Forsters Falls, August 8th.
Awesome, thank you. And Councillor White.
Yes, okay, so the library is celebrating its 25th anniversary, so we are having a volunteer and a social and volunteer appreciation event downstairs at the Cobden Hall here from 4:30 to 8 p.m. On the 27th. The Water and Dirt Festival is coming up in Petawawa, and why I mention this is because for the second year, Borca, the Beachburg Off-Road Cycling Association, is also hosting part of that. It's called the Dusty Dirts, and it's on August the 15th at the Beachburg Forest off Government Road, and there's also a barbecue. And just to touch on it, as the mayor did, I am part of the Toronto Whitewater Committee, and while it did rain, we did have over 200 riders, and it was a great event. I haven't heard of any complications from the rain, so yeah, it was well attended, and we were all excited with it. Thank you.
Good. And Councillor Moore?
I do have one, and it's the same time, Saturday, August 8th. The Horticultural Society has taken over the small park area, corner of Forsters Falls Road and Grant Settlement, and they are having a barbecue, I believe, from 3 till 6. And they were looking to raise donations for the upkeep of that little, I guess, parkette, for the lack of a better term. There used to be a picnic table there, and somebody cut the grass. I don't know if it's us or who it is, but they have taken it over from the Women's Institute, and that's what they're doing. So they're having a barbecue on the 8th, I guess maybe in cooperation with Pioneer Day at Historical Society. So hopefully it works out for them. So if you're around and want to get something to eat, August 8th. That's it for me. Thank you.
So the point I've got here on August 8th is we're not supposed to eat anything on August 7th. You hit both of these locations on August 8th. Anyway, it's good. Thank you for sharing that one. I had missed that one. And Councillor Trim. Excellent. Good. And I don't think I have... a question for staff, maybe. Any updates on the Forsters Falls Bridge? It was due to be completed by the county, so I acknowledge it's not a township project, but it was due to be completed tomorrow. Do we know if they're going to meet their due date?
I don't believe so. I can follow up with the county and get response.
Excellent. If you could, pop a quick email into council, that'd be wonderful. And one was road. It is complete? Okay. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure we had those. And Government Road is complete now, correct?
That is correct, other than the lines. Yes.
Awesome. Don't start. Okay. All right, good. That's it for announcements. Unless staff had any. Okay. Do we want to talk about the 25th? Yeah.
I guess there is one announcement from staff on behalf of our Director of Community Services. On August 15th, from 10 to 2, we will be hosting our Community Day at the Beachburg Fairgrounds as part of our Township's 25th anniversary celebration. Key attraction will be Touch a Truck, providing residents and families with an opportunity to explore a wide range of municipal emergency services, agricultural and commercial vehicles. This will be an opportunity to showcase community organizations and volunteers as well, helping connect residents with local groups while celebrating the people, the services that make Whitewater Region a great place to live. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So you have a busy August, Councillor. Yes, Councillor Moore.
In keeping with that, just wondering, do we have a meeting in August scheduled?
August 5th.
Okay.
That's why I didn't mention it.
All right, thank you.
Good. Excellent. That moves us into bylaws. There are 5 bylaws listed on our agenda. So the recommendation is, be it resolved that the bylaws listed on the July 23rd, 2026 agenda be taken as read and passed. A mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Bell. Any final comments, questions from council on any of those 5 bylaws? Yes, Councillor White.
To be honest, I just noticed that we're amending our user fees and charges.
Yes, that is a great question, and probably would be a question from a member of the public. I'm going to ask the treasurer to speak to that.
Absolutely. So with the sign bylaw that was coming through, there's 2 fees that were added to that part of the policy. And in order to kind of keep with keeping all of our fees consistent in one spot, so whenever we're updating those, they're all in one consistent document. The idea was to amend that bylaw and adding those two pieces. So if you look at the bylaw, it actually shows it was the Public Works schedule, E or D, don't quote me. Anyways, it's down in the lower part to add in the 2 sign costs. I believe it was $500 and $600. So that way then, whenever we roll into 2027 budget and we amend this, it'll already be included in there.
Thank you.
Good. Any other final questions from members of council? I see none. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it is carried. Okay, and with that, what I'm going to do, because we do have a member of public here, so we are going to go, item 15 is a closed session, item 16 is our confirmatory bylaw, and then item 17 is our adjournment. What we'll do is we're going to go into closed, and I'll put that recommendation on the floor. When we come out of close, we'll do the rise and report, the confirmatory bylaw, and the adjournment. So if there's anybody watching, the camera will go dead until we come out of closed, only to come back to do the rise and report and the confirmatory bylaw. Good, clerk? Okay. So next item is closed item 15.1. This is the CAO performance appraisal, Office of the CAO, Timintco, and OLT appeal are the 4 topics. The recommendations of the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region move into closed session at 3:55 p.m. as permitted in Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, C25, with the CAO, acting clerk, and director of corporate services to discuss 1, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, in this case the CAO performance appraisal and the Office of the CAO. A proposed or a pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Timintco, and litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting a municipality or local board, in this case OLT appeal EA 002036. Can I get a move? Seconder, please. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Bell. There is no discussion. I go straight to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. We are now enclosed.